everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Robin, or A Hobbit's Reading List, and this week we are going to be ending my November TBR. I will not read all the books that are on my TBR, but I will hopefully finish some. And starting my December TBR, we will also be going to a spa this weekend, and I think that's it. So let's get into it. I hope the sound isn't, like, annoying that the heat is on, because it's, I don't know, like 15 degrees or something. I do appreciate that where I live, we have genuine seasons. We have many seasons. The common sort of, I don't know, cliche, I guess, in my area is that we have, like, 12. Because there's, like, false spring and third winter and stuff like that. It's fun. But now that Thanksgiving is over, my area is like, well, now it's winter. Because it is cold. And the week of Thanksgiving, it was actually, like, fairly pleasant in, like, the 50s. It was just a little bit chilly, but you can get away with, like, a hoodie or a light jacket. You can't do that now. Now you need a full-on winter coat, even though there's not a lot of snow left. I'm sure that will change. So I wanted to sort of pop in because I finished the Yiddish Policeman's Union last night, which is good because I needed to have it done for class today. I finished it during the Bears game last night. I can't tell you who won. I think the Bears won. Yeah, they won, but they didn't get any touchdowns, which is fitting. I'm not a Bears fan. I'm sorry for anyone watching who is. I guess I can't really talk. Yeah, it was an interesting thing to, like, semi-watch, but I was mainly reading. I did like the Yiddish Policeman's Union. It was just a little bit difficult because, obviously, well, maybe not obviously, I haven't explained anything about it. It is an alternate universe. It's classified as science fiction, and I guess mainly because of the alternate universe thing, but there's not really science fiction in it as far as how I would define it. But it's an alternate universe where after World War II, the United States sort of gifted this section of Alaska to the Jews to have their own state, essentially. But it was only going to last for 60 years. So when the book is set is like 2 months from the reversion, as it's called, where the land would go back to the United States and the Jews would essentially be homeless again, which is great to read about. And so within this is the setting of the story is solving a murder mystery, pretty much, of this guy who was executed, like, professionally in the hotel where the main character, Meyer, is living. So I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really well done mystery. It reminded me of, like, the, you know, noir films of, like, the 40s, 50s, and 60s, of very just, like, our main detective is very, like, dry and has an obvious drinking problem, and it just had those sorts of, like, vibes, which I appreciated. I actually really like it. It was just a little bit hard because of everything going on in the world right now, which, like, I don't really want to get into. I don't really want to talk about it, which is why I haven't. Some of those themes were definitely in the book, so it's just a little, like, reading to escape is not necessarily possible when you're reading books for a class. That just so happened to be very timely, unfortunately. So yeah, that's pretty much all I'll say about that. Yeah, I did like it, though. I wouldn't mind rereading it in the future. I liked most of the characters. I thought it was well thought out. There were some things that I felt like could have been explained a little bit more, but I also am not someone that, like, I don't think explanations need to be, like, hammered over my head, and so I'm fine with it, like, not being super explained. I can use, you know, context clues and everything to figure out what the author meant. So, all that to say, I gave it a 4-star. I really liked it. I like the author, and the reason I'm not saying his name is because I don't know how to pronounce his last name, and it gives me a lot of anxiety. Chabon, I think, maybe. But I have read the Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay by him. I remember liking that as well. It was written in a very similar style, but obviously is very different. I think that was written about, like, comic books. It was well done. He's obviously an amazing author. So yeah, that's really all I have to say about that one. I brought the Amphigorey by Edward Gorey to my friend's house last night on the off chance that, like, I finished the Yiddish Policeman's Union with enough time to start the Amphigorey. I didn't. I was so tired. So I'm going to bring it to work with me today and read in between meetings. And I'm trying to think. I will continue listening to the Hidden Huntress. I'll probably get another, like, 2.5 hours in today, so I'll finish it tomorrow. So that'll be good, and then at some point I need to fill my TBR and figure out what books I'm reading next month. Oh, it's so busy. Everything's so busy, and over the next 2 weeks I have to write 3 essays. Not looking forward to that. So yeah, so that's sort of the plan, and yeah, I'm gonna go to class now. Hey everyone. Wow, the lighting here is not great. So the day really got away from me. It was really busy, and I didn't film hardly any of it. So yesterday I was back to back pretty much all day, and when I wasn't in a meeting, I was, like, doing homework stuff, which I'll have to pretty much do that again tomorrow. Today, I went to class this morning, and then I had a hair appointment right when I got back into town. And then I went and got lunch with Stephanie so that we could exchange our book advent calendars. And then I had personal training. And then I had to finish up some work stuff. And then I met with my writing buddy Ellis. And then I had family book club. And now I'm here, and it's almost 10 o'clock at night. I had, like, no time to do hardly anything. I was very productive and got all the things I needed to done. I just finished editing my TBR video for December. Thankfully, those don't take a super long time. Like, honestly, vlogs take me longer, although this one probably won't because I haven't filmed any B-roll. I will tomorrow. I will, definitely, tomorrow. But last night on my way home, I did finish Hidden Huntress by Danielle Jensen. This is the second book in the Malediction trilogy about this girl who had been kidnapped and taken underneath the Forsaken Mountain, where she discovers trolls live, and they are trapped and bound within the mountain by this curse. And there's this whole, like, there's a lot of politics in it. And then there's also, like, magic, and there's a lot of opera, which I find interesting. Cecile is an opera singer. I really enjoyed the first book. I really enjoyed the second book, honestly. I thought it opened up the world a little bit more. There is a plot twist, because it is very politic heavy, which I actually didn't mind, because it was well explained. I don't understand politics a lot of the time. But I did guess the plot twist about 35 to 40% way through. But honestly, I'm not mad. I would have been angrier, and I would have been, like, really disappointed if what I predicted didn't happen. It's sort of the issue that I ran into with Spellbound by F.T. Lukens. Towards the end, I was trying to guess, like, a potential plot twist that, like, I found really exciting. I was like, oh, it would be really cool. And then that didn't happen, and I got really disappointed. So I'm really glad that even though I guessed it fairly early on, because all the hints are there, I liked that. I liked that the route that I thought would be really interesting to go down happened. So I gave it a 4-star. I immediately ordered the last book in the trilogy. I will read it at some point. Hopefully I will remember more. Although I'll have to look and see if the narrators for the third audiobook are the same, because I think they did a really good job. Like, I really liked it. I get nervous when there's more than one narrator because I worry that, like, I'll not like one of them. It's already so hit or miss for narrators anyway, and then adding 2 or more, I'm just like, ugh. But I really like them. I thought they did a great job. I felt more immersed in the story, and so I certainly wouldn't mind, you know, when I get around to the third book, listening to it on audio again. Or maybe I'll do that on my way home from my dad's at the end of the month, since I won't have any audiobooks to listen to. Maybe I'll do that. That's about it, honestly. Like, I finished Huntress last night, but I didn't read a physical book yesterday or today. I probably won't tomorrow either, quite honestly, because tomorrow I have a ton of meetings. I have one break, which I'm going to have to do homework during it, because I have a homework assignment due tomorrow night. Yeah. I was talking to one of my friends earlier, and I was just like, I recognize that I am a procrastinator. I cut things really close. I always get things done. Like, if it's super important, if it has a deadline, like, I get it done. But the fact that I am a procrastinator and that I need that impending deadline to get it done causes a lot of stress. So yeah, that's, so I have a homework assignment due tomorrow night. I also, after work, have our work, like, holiday event. We do, like, a spa day thing, although it's at night. And so we each, you know, get a manicure or a pedicure, a facial, or, like, a massage, or, like, a salt scrub. It's really fun. It's really generous of my boss. I really enjoy it. But I'm also just like, I really wish it had been, like, 2 weeks later, because this is approaching finals week at, you know, in my school. And so, like, obviously I'm not going to complain, but I'm also just like, I'm really stressed out. And I could have really used this Friday night. It's fine. I'll be fine. I'll figure it out. Don't worry. I don't know what I'm going to read next. I need to finish. So I on Tuesday, I read the first story in the Amphigorey, which is a collection of 15 stories by Gorey, who is an illustrator. And I read the first one on Tuesday. I haven't picked it up since. I probably won't pick it up tomorrow. But I need to read it because it was my consequence book for November. So I need to read that before I can move on to any of my December books. And since I only have 2 books that are available on audio where I don't mind the narrator, I have, like, 8 physical books I need to read. So I'm just like, that impending deadline thing, like, man, does it work, but boy, am I stressed. But I'll be fine. I'll be fine. It's cool. And that's about it. I have to print something, and then I'd finish uploading a video. That's kind of the important thing. And then I need to go to bed. So I will film more tomorrow. Good morning. Oh, I totally forgot to film anything at the spa night last night. Honestly, like, I had a good time. But I went there right after work. My services started at like 5:15. So by the time I got changed into like the robe and everything, I was immediately moved into a service. And then I started with a salt scrub, so I had to go like rinse off all the salt. And so by the time I had essentially like taken a shower, got robed up again, then I was able to sit down for like 5 minutes, snack on some veggies that we had brought, but everyone else was in services. And then my boss came and talked to me, and then I was immediately pulled into my like facial. And the woman who did my facial was the same woman doing my pedicure. And so like I was able to go get dressed at this point, so I got dressed, and then it was immediately like pedicure time. So it was like I didn't really have time to necessarily think, and so I didn't film. So sorry about that, but that's pretty much what happened. My face is all aglow. I will be honest, I have not read a lot. I listened to an hour of Shot in the Dark by Victoria Lee, closer probably to an hour and a half. I like it. I was really into it. I didn't listen to it on my way home last night just because I was very tired after the spa because I had worked, and then the spa, and I was all relaxed, and I needed something a little more engaging, so I just sang the entire time because that keeps me awake. So I only listened to an hour and a half of it. I really I love the chemistry between Ellie and Wyatt. Yeah. it's only an hour and a half in. Like, I don't fully know their names yet. But the story is Ellie grew up in I'm pretty sure, Orthodox Jewish community in Crown Heights. When she was about 18-ish, she left the community, went to LA, and promptly fell into abusing drugs and alcohol. At the time of the story, she's been sober for 4 years, and she's back in New York to go to this photography graduate school because her, I guess, inspiration or ideal role model is teaching a class. So she goes to where he's teaching. Her first night back in New York, she goes out with her roommates. She doesn't drink, but they go to a gay club. She ends up meeting this guy, and he's awesome. She gets along really well with him. He's funny, he's cute, he's also sober. So they start dancing, and then they go to a hotel room and hook up, which is great. Except Ellie discovers the next day that the guy she hooked up with was her role model and professor. So that's pretty much where I am. I really like it. Wyatt is a trans man, so I think it's really, really nice getting to read that, because I haven't read a book so far that only one of the characters is trans. For whatever reason, I've always read trans for trans romances. I just ended up there. So I'm liking this other relationship dynamic, but the chemistry is like awesome already. So I'm looking forward to listening to it more tomorrow. But I did want to sort of explain how December's gonna go and do it like a mini book haul. So you would have seen B-roll of me opening some presents. On the odd days of the month, I'm going to open my book advent calendar from Stephanie, and so I will always show that to you, and I will go into the book that I opened last night. I will also show the tea that I get from my tea advent calendar every day. I will not film opening my family's advent calendar. We call it 25 Days of Presents, because I do that with Chris, and that's like our own thing, even though they're both presents from my dad. But I will show you what I got. And that, probably the same for Hanukkah. Like, I will open that with Chris because that's our thing, but I will probably tell you what I got. So that's the sort of thing. But I wanted to go into like a mini book haul because I have books. So last night I opened Break the Chains by Megan O'Keefe from Stephanie. This is a sequel to a book that I read, a really long time ago. I'm just gonna say 5 years. I think maybe longer. It was science fiction-y. I remember there was heist, there were spaceships, and the vibe was very similar to Firefly, which, for people who don't know, was a early 2000s show that was created by Joss Whedon. It was only on air for a season, but it became like a cult following. I really enjoyed it because of the dynamics and the humor. It also got its own movie, which is shit. It's not Firefly. It's called something else. I will put the title because I'm blanking right now. I'll put the title somewhere. But so it has very similar vibes. It even says on the back of the book, it says, blend two lovable rogues, a magical doppelganger, and a nasty empire, and you have O'Keefe steal the sky, which is the first book. It's like an epic steampunk Firefly. So, very much my vibes. Before I read this, I will have to reread Steal the Sky, because I hardly remember anything. But I am very glad because I put this book, there were a couple sequels that I added to my book wish list to finish them out. So I'm glad that Stephanie went that route. Because otherwise, who knows what I would have gotten it. The 25 Days of Presents that I opened last night was A Prefect's Uncle by P.G. Woodhouse. So thank you, Dad. I open it, I'm just like, okay. I will read this at some point in the future. I'm not going to read what it's about because I go into P.G. Woodhouse completely blind. So at some point in the future, I'll read it. So subscribe to know when that is. I also, Monday night, I got my TBR letter, which is tailored book recommendations of tailored book recommendations. I get them every quarter. And so Monday night, I went out to Barnes & Noble. I think there was a clip of me at the store. But I got the books that were recommended. Barnes & Noble randomly had all three of them, just in weird places I wasn't expecting. And so one of them is A Shot in the Dark. And the other two were Thank You for Sharing by Rachel Runya Katz and Farrell Covington and the Limits of Style by Paul Rudnick. All three of these are Jewish. That's why they were recommended to me, because I have that stated as something I want to have more of. And all three of them are also queer, which I was like, thank you for listening to my desires. So I read the blurb for Thank You for Sharing. I feel like this is queer, so I'm assuming Danielle is a trans man. I could be wrong. This could be a straight romance, which is fine. I just swear that all three of them were queer. It's fine. So pretty much Danielle and Leah were best friends growing up. They got into this like big fight at summer camp and their friendship ended. They hadn't talked since. And then 14 years later, they end up seated next to each other on a plane and they immediately start fighting again. But then one of them is hired to work for the other's company for like a consulting thing. So they keep having to interact and there's tension and there's chemistry and they get closer. So it seems really interesting. I believe this is more of like a rom-com. I'm trying to remember the recommendation letter. I believe this is more like a rom-com. A Shot in the Dark has heavier themes, obviously, because we were dealing with drug addiction. And then Farrell Covington and the Limits of Style. I believe this takes place at Yale. It follows Farrell and I believe him going through his main relationship, but also other relationships. I know it spans like 30 years because my, what do they call it? Bookologist or something. They call it bibliologist or something. Noted that like there are themes of death because I have a warning on that there are themes of death because it spans 30 years and so it talks about the AIDS epidemic. So they did give that warning. So I know it spans a good amount of time. So all of them are added to my TBR. I will get to them at some point. And yeah, so I just want to do a little mini haul before I start my advent calendars for the day and then do homework. And hopefully read. That'd be great. I'm tired. And I still have to write an essay tonight, but I'm gonna go ahead and wrap the vlog up here. I just got home probably like 30 minutes ago. I have a headache that I'm waiting for it to go away before I start my essay. Pressure's not helping the headache go away, but it's okay. I finished reading the Amphigorey last night. I enjoyed it. It's weird. Like, it's a weird book, but it's a collection of 15 stories that are all sort of weird or macabre, but they're illustrated by Gorey, and they're pretty quick, you know, once you like sit down and just read. But I thought it was interesting, you know. I I enjoyed it. There's a lot of death involved. You are heavy. I don't know if it's just because of my headache, but Reese's weight on my hip bone is the most torturous thing I've ever felt right now. Okay. So I gave the Amphigorey, I want to say 3.5 stars. If I'm wrong, I'll put the right score on the screen. But I also listened to like another hour and a half of A Shot in the Dark. I'm not as buddy, you're so heavy right now. Get down. Yeah, it's just because my head is making me like really sensitive. Like, he's even on my leg right now and it hurts. Anyway, I'm not pushing myself to finish the audiobook as fast as I can, because right now I only have 2, and like obviously there are other options. I have a plan for once I finish these 2 books, but I'm not worried about it, and it's kind of nice just like chilling out, doing what I need to do. So like on my drive home, I just really focused on like relaxing, because I've had a headache since literally like 3 o'clock and it hasn't gone away. I have taken medicine, just waiting for it to do something. Yeah, A Shot in the Dark, I'm still enjoying it. It's still funny. I think we're getting to the part where they can't really avoid each other as much as they have been. So I'm enjoying that. And yeah, that's about it. So I'm gonna let you go, because once my headache goes away, I'm going to start my essay, and that's probably gonna take me the rest of the night. So leave a comment, like the video, subscribe, click the notification bell, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.